Camp Emzi is a story about a remarkable man who years before he was born, his mother, she cried and she pleaded, Hashem, give me a son. I have so many daughters. I got a daughter doing the dishes, I got a daughter doing the floor, I got a daughter taking care of the kids, I got a daughter running errands. But I need a son, at least one boy. You know, after all, you don't get the mitzvah of having children until you have a boy and a girl. If you have 11... Excuse me for this reminder. I just want to remind all our friends of Pirchei Agudas Yisrael to call our Rabbi's Riddles hotline. Every day you can hear an eye-opening, informing, enjoyable riddle from Chazal, from Gemaras, with stories, Rishonim and Achronim. The number is 1917, Torah 01. Enjoy! Went in Morocco, and she asked around, Rabbi Mansanego, Rabbi Stone, a lot of rabbis, give me a bracha. I should have a son. I have girls. I was blessed with girls. It's a blessing to have girls too. When you have a baby girl, you're supposed to say, Baruch Hashem, Shechiyanu V'Kimanu. Some people don't make a bracha when they have a girl. And because they're not as happy as if they feel bad. Oh, I wish I would have had a boy. People want to have boys. And why this mother, her name was Esther, wanted to have boys. And even though she had girls, she was always a little bit saddened that she didn't have a boy. You might say, what do you mean? Girls are great. It says, it's always easier to raise a girl to Torah than a boy. Girls, they have much less mitzvot, so they have a smaller Yetzer Hara. Boys, they have so many mitzvot, so they have such a big Yetzer Hara. It's very hard to raise a boy to go in the ways of Hashem sometimes. But the girls are easy. But still, people want boys because a boy carries on the father's name. A boy is someone who can do the greatest mitzvah in the universe called Talmud Torah. A boy is someone that can be a rabbi and a manhig and a leader of Klal Yisrael. And usually ladies, they're patur for many mitzvot because they're taking care of the children. And most fathers want children that will be active in the world. It turns out, finally, she went to one Rav who promised her she'd have a son. And he said, don't worry, you'll have more than one. But make sure that when you have the son, that you raise him in the ways of halacha. There's different parts of Torah. Make sure you raise him, that he should know the halachot of the Torah well, and that he should be a very, very strong Jew. And she said, of course, Rabbi, what do you think I want a child for? And he said, good. But just know that you have to keep praying to Hashem that he should be a good Jew. Because just by getting a son, sometimes they go rotten. You have to always pray and pray and pray every day that he should go in the ways of Hashem. And she said, of course, Rabbi, please, when will I have the son? And he said, don't worry. Around a year later, when she had a son, her joy met no bounds. Her simcha, her laugh, her excitement was amazing. She made the bracha, Baruch atah Hashem Shechiyanu, that I thank you, Hashem, for letting me live to see this great moment of pride and pleasure, seeing a child like myself, a little 1 foot replica of myself. But she felt bad, because at first his name was Albert. They named him Avraham, Albert. But when he was growing up, he didn't seem to be someone going in the ways of Hashem. Because outside in the streets of Morocco and Fez where they lived, children were always playing in the street, wrestling. And if you see a bunch of kids, that's their entertainment. They wrestle each other. I don't even think we're that bad in Brooklyn. Actually, in Harlem, they do that. They pick fights just for the sake of a fight. In the old Western taverns and the bars, that's what they would do. Pick a fight. Guy would take out a gun and show he's cool. But you know, as they were growing up, she was very worried. He goes out in the morning. He doesn't come home till late at night. Oh my gosh, what's he doing all day? Just hanging around the bums? Oh my gosh. And she was very worried, because then yeshiva started when you were older. In olden times, people didn't go to yeshiva till they were 15. Because the roads were dangerous. Who's going to send their son, a little child, 10-year-old, in the streets to travel? Then they went and they made yeshiva closer and they made transportation. But very often, schools started later. The reason why they started at 15 was because after 15, it wouldn't be possible practically to teach a kid. He's already set in his ways. And if you try to give him musar, he rebels and he uses tough language back. And it's very hard to raise a kid who's already rotten. You get them when they're young, it's the best. And this boy, she was wondering, maybe I have to send him to some tutor, some teacher. Who's going to help him? But he would come home some days, late at night, and she was so bothered. Probably he was hanging around the corner with the boys playing cards. They used to play cards for money. If not for money, they would just play. Probably this boy, my son, he's probably following his neighbors. People are influenced more from their friends and neighbors than from their rabbis and family. And it bothered her till one day she said, I have an idea. I'll follow him. Where is he going? And I'll see. I'll hide behind trees. I'll hide behind buildings. And I'll watch him. I'll spy him out the whole day and I'll see what's happening. And she followed him one day, thinking, where's he going to go? To the card games, to the wrestling, to any dangerous entertainment. And as she's following him, as she's creeping behind him, he doesn't even know she's there. But as Avram ben Esther was walking, she thought, probably he'll go where the Goyim are. And suddenly as he walked, she saw he started to run. Oh my gosh. She's an older lady already. She's almost 45, 50. She's not ready to run. And the kid's starting to run down the block. And like, what's she going to do? Start running after him? Old ladies, they don't usually run. If you saw a 50-year-old lady running down the street, you'd probably think it's very strange. And here he's running, and she has to see what he's doing. She starts going faster. It's not easy. And as she's trying to keep up with him, she sees, where he's going? He's not going to play cards or to wrestle. He's going in the Beit Din, in the Jewish court, in the Beit Din. And you see what? She ran in. And as he ran in, he sat down on the floor, right next to one of the rabbis. And as a little kid, he must have been 10, and he's sitting there in the court where people would come and argue with each other. You stole my business. You have no right to open a business next to my business. I was here first. And all kinds of arguments that come before rabbis in the court in Beit Din. And he would listen to their arguments, and he would learn how the judges decided the law. And he enjoyed that all day. She felt embarrassed of herself. Here's my son. I thought he was a rascal, and I see he's a rabbi. It turns out she's watching him, and tears flow down her eyes as she walks home. He stays there all day, and in, day out, he went to the Beit Din, and he would learn Torah that way. He'd learn a lot of mitzvot. He would watch the rabbis, how they talked, how they walked, and he was very proud. One day when he was around 11, 12 years old, as he was walking in the street and his mother so proud, he saw there was a guy there named Abdul. And Abdul was threatening all the Jewish children with a dagger, with a knife, and saying, come on kids, who wants to be cut up and to chop meat? He got so angry. He said, get out of here! Scaring the children. And as he threatened them, Avraham, little Albert, got so upset. He started screaming, get out of here, you wild man! You sick person! And they were like, Albert, don't get him too angry, or else, you might find yourself all different colors, like red, white, and blue. And he looked at them, he looked at the man, and he ran to tell the rabbi what's going on. But you know what? Abdul was a madman, a person lost. There's so many people like that, unfortunately, that never had an education, never had a spanking that teaches them how to behave when they're supposed to. Someone who doesn't get a spanking when he's a little kid, you might think he's lucky. But King David HaMelech said he's very unlucky. He's very unfortunate. when you spank a kid and a sharp word, my father used to always a lot of times scream at me. And I know it really makes, even though it might not have made a difference then, but later on it makes you better. Remember, my father used to scream at me for hanging around the halls in yeshiva, playing during tefillah. And he'd say, "Stay next to me. What are you coming to shul, to play for?" And at that time I felt my father was too strict. But his musar helped, because years later I started running and taking care of kids also, that they should pray, and they should pray beautifully. But as he was there, walking one day, some children weren't in school, and he asked them, "Why aren't you going?" And they said, "We're scared. Abdul's crazy. And he pushed my sister down, and he beat me up. And look at this. It's all black and blue." And every time Avram saw a kid like that, he said, "Why didn't you tell your father?" "Say, I did. My father said, listen, it's better not to start up with him. He's a dangerous man." "So why didn't you tell the police?" So the police are scared of him too, because he's a madman. He's the kind of guy to do danger. They're thinking what to do. So what do you mean they're thinking what to do? How long do you have to think what to do? If he's a danger to society, lock him up. But they went, and they just went about as if nothing was going on. And this bothered Albert. He was a dangerous man walking around the streets. And he would threaten kids. He would threaten them that if I see you, I'll poke your eyes out. If I see you, I'll make sure I'll cut your heart right out of its place. And Albert would get nauseous just thinking of this person. Till one day, as Avram was walking towards yeshiva, Abdul said, "Wise guy!" And he pulled out a knife, and he started chasing Albert. And he started chasing Albert. Albert's not so scared. He runs, but he turns around and he's ready to give the guy one. Albert was a very strong kid. And actually his mother, that's why she used to think he was always into trouble. Because since he was so strong, he used to dive from the stones on the cliff into the ocean waters below. He used to go on bridges, and from the middle of the bridge, twirl in the water. He used to play soccer, where he was able to keep the ball in the air for like 20 minutes by just fast movements and lots of skill. He was a very skilled person, as you'll soon see. But here, as he was playing, his mother thought that probably that's, a troublemaker, but really he wasn't like that. He played because he's a kid. Kids should play. They need to play. It's very good to play for kids. They get out all the extra energy they have. It's very good. But you know what? When Abdul attacked him, he took out the knife and he started swinging it without mercy towards Albert. And each time he missed, he said curses about Jews. And Avram couldn't bear to hear the sick language that he talked about Jews. He didn't just call us dirty. We're the cleanest people. When the Black Plague hit so many people, it didn't hit the Jews, because the Goyim, they never wash Netilah, they never wash themselves once a day, so they have germs always. We wash Netilah, we go to the mikveh, we go to the shower, we shower with warm hot water for Shabbat. We're a cleaner people. For Goyim, they can't see it that way. They have to knock us. And the Goyim even went so far as to blame the Jews for the Black Death. And they said, the Jews poisoned the well. The proof is, how come no Jews are dying? It must be they poisoned the well. It wasn't us. It was a terrible death that hit Europe, where thousands, when you study history, you'll see it was, Jews were mamish saved from the path of the angel of death during the Black Death. It was a bubonic plague. And anyway, he didn't just call us dirty Jews. He called us disgusting things that only a menuval would dare say. And Avram, as he was backing off from him, he was starting to swing. And Avraham, not scared of him. Avram was not scared of him. Avram was scared of only Hashem. Scared of Avirah. Scared of getting the master of the world, the maker of the world, angry. And right then, Avram got so angry that he punched the guy in the face. The guy was stunned. Didn't think his little guy, was he 11, 12-year-old, going to give him such a zest in the eye? And he went, and he took Avram by his